Hello doctor, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
I am going to upload a video for senior citizens, mainly for senior citizens, and also I am going to tell them about some skin diseases, how to avoid skin diseases, how to take care of themselves. There are many senior citizens who do not know what to do when they get some serious medical problem. One of the common diseases is skin problems. In old age, even a mole looks like a mountain. You can tell us something about common skin problems and how to tackle them, and also how to keep the skin healthy. Can you tell us something?
At the very outset, I'll introduce myself. I'm Dr. Gopalakrishnan. I'm an associate professor at a medical college, and I'm also a consultant at a clinic in Weimar. So regarding elderly people, what happens as we age? After the age of about 35 or 40, the oil secretion, the glands which are called the sebaceous glands, they tend to decrease in function. So the oil secretion of the skin comes down. Now why this oil secretion is important? Because it is the oil layer on the topmost part of the skin which retains moisture. It acts as a protective layer. So as we age, the oiliness drops. So the ability of your skin to retain moisture also drops. Your skin tends to become dry. Now there is a general dictum that a dry skin becomes easily allergic, it gets easily infected, and it will be easily itchy. A dry skin itself will be itchy. So one of the commonest complaints elderly people generally have is dry and itchy skin. So what should they do to avoid this? Now, first and foremost is that they should avoid using soaps. Now what are these soaps? How do soaps generally work is they remove the dirt and excess oil in the skin. So when you use soap on already dry skin, it will become more drier. So as an alternative, you have to use body washes, or there is a specialized bars called Zindet bars, synthetic detergents. The difference between soap and Zindet is that soaps remove moisture, whereas Zindets will add moisture to the skin. Okay.
What do you call that?
Zindet, synthetic detergents.
Synthetic detergent
bars.
Okay. We have to go in for synthetic. Okay.
So they are a good alternative for elderly people. Or as a home remedy, what we can do is we can avoid soaps or even the Zindet bars. You can use what is in Tamil they call paithamam.
Okay.
Even that can be used to wash your skin. Or even if that is not available, you can just rinse your skin with water. That is more than enough for elderly people. No need to use any soaps or Zindet.
Okay.
And then the second thing is after bathing, we need to apply a copious amount of moisturization lotions.
Okay.
Moisturizer, any common moisturizer can be used. You apply a liberal amount of moisturizer, and then you start reapplying it once in 3 or 4 hours during the daytime. And once before bedtime also you can apply. This helps in maintaining a good moisture in the skin. A well moistened skin will be healthy skin.
What are the common diseases which come when you say it becomes dry and we get problems? What are the common diseases which we get?
One is
psoriasis, ringworm, problems like skin allergies.
Yes, generally elderly people, they tend to be more have a greater risk of developing some infections, particularly the ringworm. In medical we call this tinea infection. Common English terms called ringworm infection. It commonly starts in the flexures of the skin folds, the thighs, the axilla, the armpits. Okay, it starts there. And then what people generally do is that nowadays, generally people do is that they don't consult a doctor initially. They try to do some home remedies. They buy creams and ointments from the pharmacies directly, and they try to cure it themselves. Now what happens is that these pharmacies, they generally prescribe the combination creams, which contains an antibiotic, antifungal, antiparasitic, and then a steroid containing preparation. So what will happen is that it will give an immediate relief. The steroid will give an immediate relief, but then the fungal infection will worsen. It will spread. And then after it becomes worsened, that is the time most of the people are then coming to the doctor for treatment. So whenever you suspect you have an infection or something, you should definitely consult a doctor. The doctor will diagnose whether it's a bacterial infection or viral infection or a fungal infection, and he will do some simple tests to diagnose it and then give appropriate treatment. And this is about fungal infection. Now bacterial infections are also common among elderly, particularly if they are diabetic.
Okay.
Those infections we call it as pyodermas, pus forming infections. They'll develop a small painful round swellings will happen, and then they will break open to form pus oozing lesion. They are called pyodermas, pus forming lesions. So this is common particularly in diabetic patients.
Okay.
And then viral infections, there is one common infection called shingles. In English term we call shingles, medically we call zoster. This zoster is nothing but your chickenpox virus, which you had contracted during your childhood. Now this virus will not go away from the system. It lodges itself into the spinal cord. There is one structure in the spinal cord called spinal ganglion. It lodges itself into the spinal ganglion. So after we turn 50, there is a high chance this virus will get reactivated. It travels along the spinal nerves and comes to the skin and forms a rash which is very similar to that of a chickenpox. But here the difference is that it will start as a pain. It will start as a painful lesion on the one side of the body. And then the rash appears on the third or the fourth day, which will be grouped fluid-filled lesions, very painful lesions will happen. Now what happens particularly in an elderly, when this happens over the chest region, they will mistake it for cardiac arrest, heart attack, and they may get alarmed because of it. So whenever the rash happens over one side of the body, you consult a skin doctor. He may be able to diagnose it clinically, or he may do a simple test to confirm that it is zoster. It is nothing but reactivation of your chickenpox virus.
So it can be treated?
Yes, it is definitely treatable with medications, and it can also be prevented in foreign countries, European countries and American countries. All elderly people above 50 years of age, they are immunized with chickenpox vaccine. This helps in preventing the zoster from coming, and also a complication which can happen after zoster we call post-herpetic neuralgia, that is persistence of pain even after the rash has healed, which can be very troublesome in elderly people. So this vaccinating after age of 50, maybe it's time we start implementing in our country. It is mandatory in European countries.
Is it being done in India? Anywhere?
No, sir.
Not so far.
So not many people are aware of this. So once we create awareness, maybe people should come forward to get themselves vaccinated after they turn 50.
Do you have the vaccines in India for the?
Yeah, definitely. It's a chickenpox vaccine. It's available. We generally routinely give it for children. So the same vaccine has to be given for adults after they turn 50 to prevent this zoster from coming.
Okay. What is this eczema? They say eczema.
Yes, again eczema, it starts with the dry skin. So once, like I said, once the skin is dry, your skin tend to become easily allergic. So whatever substances your body tolerated, your skin will lose tolerance. Allergy is nothing but loss of tolerance. Okay. So your skin tends to react to commonly used objects like your soaps, your powders. In soaps particularly, the utensil washing soaps, detergents, powders. So this commonly happens in the hands and feet, where it will start as a itchy lesion. You will get tiny small bubbles kind of thing, and when you scratch it, fluid like things will ooze out. So this is a classical symptom and sign of eczema. We call it hand and foot eczema. This is a commonest eczema. The another common eczema is called asteatotic eczema, where I guess I told you before that the oilness will come down, isn't it? That is called asteatosis. Steatosis, the word steatosis refers to oil. So asteatosis means absent oil. So this absence of oil in the skin itself will predispose a person to develop eczema. Now this will start in the shins of the leg. And when you scratch it, again the typical symptom of eczema will happen. Itching, oozing, crusting, everything will happen. And if left untreated, it can spread to the rest of the body also.
And it happens in elbows also, outside the...
Yeah, it starts in the legs. Asteatic eczema starts in the leg. If left untreated, it can slowly disseminate. It's called eczema dissemination.
So it is treatable?
Yeah, definitely.
Some people get itching suddenly and it spreads all over the body. They call it urticaria or something. Can you tell us something about it?
Yes. Urticaria is a very common allergy. It is not exactly specific to elderly people. It can happen in all age groups. It can happen in every age group. It can happen both men and women. What happens basically in urticaria is that there is one cell called mast cell within the skin. Now this cell is also called as alarm cell. something unwanted enters into the body. This cell gets activated and it releases certain chemicals called histamine. Now this histamine is the one which causes the itching, and once you scratch it, the skin becomes a red in color. It becomes edematous, swelling, like as though ant has bitten. Okay, ant bite like lesions will happen.
Okay.
Reddish, swollen lesions will happen on the skin. This is what we call as the common urticaria or the ordinary urticaria. Now when this allergy becomes more severe, you can develop swelling of your lips, swelling of your eyelids, swelling of your hair passages, swelling of your foot pipe.
Okay.
All this will happen. We call it angioedema. This is a severe form of urticaria. Okay. So here typically an urticaria patient will complain of itchy rash. Once you scratch it, will become more, and then after some time it will disappear on its own. Because the histamine chemical gets washed away after some time, and the symptoms also do. Now again the next day the whole process gets repeated.
All
The whole process gets repeated.
Okay.
So this happens every day in cycles.
Okay.
So this is the idea what is happening in urticaria. Now what triggers this mast cell is, number one is food. Food is a common trigger,
Okay.
particularly seafoods. Among non-vegetarian foods, seafoods is a common trigger. Among vegetarian foods, nuts, groundnuts, cashew, badam, pista, all nuts can trigger this allergy. Any food that is packed and processed, because they add preservatives and coloring agents, pH stabilizers, so many other chemicals are added to any processed food.
Okay.
All those chemicals can trigger the release of mast cell. So these are the common food substances which can cause urticaria. Very rarely some people even dairy and dairy products can also cause this allergy. So these are the food substances which can trigger. The second common reason is the medications, particularly painkillers. When you take Saridon, Vixasion 500, some over-the-counter medications which are available even in other shops. Now such painkillers are the commonest trigger for this urticaria. And then there is a whole list of other medications also, which if you are taking any medication, the doctor will be able to identify which medication is triggering the urticaria.
Okay.
The third common reason is infection. We call it septic foci. That means the infection will be there, but it will not show any sign or symptom. For example, your sinus. If you have a clogged sinus, fluid always gets collected. There will be bacteria which is growing there, but without causing any symptom. That is called a septic foci. So this septic foci could be the trigger for this urticaria. Likewise, your dental caries, infection in your tooth, that could be the source for trigger of mast cells. Infection in the urinary tract, particularly elderly people with BPH, benign prostatic hypertrophy, where they are not able to completely empty their bladder. There is a retention of urine in the bladder. That will develop infection without any symptom. That could be the cause for this urticaria. If we are developing burns in stools, passing burns in stools, that is also an infection. So all these infections, particularly the asymptomatic infection, could be the trigger for urticaria. And then if you have diabetes, if you have thyroid, could also be an associated cause. So these are the cause for urticaria. Now once you consult a dermatologist for this, they will be able to identify in most of the patients what has caused them. The triggers could be identified in some patients. In many patients we may not be able to identify the exact trigger.
Okay.
So we can do some relevant blood tests and urine tests to find out the severity of the allergy, and some tests can find out if there is any infection. Then the doctor will give you certain medications, a group of medications called antihistamines. That is a mainstay of treatment for urticaria. Now what this antihistamine will do is that it will block the action of this chemical called histamine, which is what is causing all the symptoms. So this doctor will start you with a single tablet initially. We'll try to control the disease with a single tablet. If you're not responding, then there are other medications that are called second line and third line treatments. There are other treatment options like immunosuppressive agents. They will be tried as a second line agent if you're not responding to antihistamine. Now generally what happens is that when people start taking treatment for urticaria, the average duration of treatment may range anywhere from 6 months to 1 year. If you take treatment regularly for 6 months to 1 year, there is 90% chance that you will get cured. Small subset, 10% of people may have required to take treatment even longer than that. So this is an outline about what is urticaria.
So it is treatable and
Definitely.
it's not life-threatening.
Yes. Only when it becomes a severe allergy called angioedema, where there is swelling of the foot pipes, swelling of the air passages, where the patient develops difficulty in breathing, Only that angioedema can become life-threatening. In that scenario, the doctor will prescribe you steroids, both oral steroids, injectable steroids, to save the patient out of the crisis.
Okay.
And then they will slowly taper the steroids and they will add another drug, just I mentioned, immunosuppressive agents, which will help you in getting out of angioedema.
So you have been telling us about skin problems. Generally what are the things we should do to keep the skin healthy? It is about 22 square feet of skin each adult has got. So even if one place 1 square inch we get a problem, then the whole we get so upset sometimes. So how do we take care of our skin? What are the general conditions we should follow?
So like I said that I already advised regarding the use of soaps and shampoos, copious amount of moisturizing lotions. You need to drink at least 1 to 2 liters of water every day. And then eating foods which are rich in water content.
Okay.
And you need to consume fatty foods. Generally what people think is that fatty foods are bad for health.
Now,
So elderly people, particular people, you need to consume fatty foods like paneer,
okay.
a little amount of cheese, ghee, gingery oil. So fat is very essential for us.
Okay.
It helps in keeping the skin moist.
Okay.
So a little portion, at least 20% of your diet should contain healthy fats.
Okay.
Butter is a very healthy fat. Cheese is also very healthy fat.
Okay.
So generally people are misconcepted that these fatty foods are all very bad for the heart.
Okay. So I have some questions about hair fall.
Okay.
A lot of young people lose their hair. Some boys, 25-30 years, they have become partly bald. And they don't get suitable matches. Their parents find it very difficult to get girls for them. So, what is the cause of this? What is the reason for this?
So this baldness, in medical term we call it androgenetic alopecia. The word alopecia means loss of hair. Andro means refers to the male sex hormones.
Okay.
Genetic means it's a genetic problem. So what happens is the male sex hormone, mainly the hormone called dehydroepiandrosterone, DHEAS. This hormone causes excess hair growth in the rest of the body,
Okay.
causes hair loss in the front of the scalp, on top of the scalp.
Okay.
So why it happens is that this front portion of the scalp, the hair follicle contains a receptor called 5-alpha reductase. So this dehydroepiandrosterone in the presence of 5-alpha reductase causes shrinking of the hair follicle.
Okay.
So the hair follicle keeps on shrinking in size. As it shrinks, the hair becomes thinner and thinner. The density goes down, the scalp becomes visible. At one point, the hair follicle becomes so small in size that the hair cannot grow out of it. And then the hair follicle will be replaced by fibrous or scar tissue. So this is what is basically happening in this condition called androgenetic alopecia, or what we call as familial baldness. So now in this condition there is some phenomenon called genetic anticipation. What it means is that if the father became bald at the age of 40, his son will become bald at the age of 30. His grandson will become bald at the age of 20.
Okay.
This is called genetic anticipation.
Okay.
So if a young male has a family history of baldness, that is his father is bald, or his maternal grandfather is bald, his maternal uncles are bald, then he has a high chance of becoming bald. He's better start taking treatment at the early stages of hair fall itself.
Okay.
And there are several good treatment options for it. One main medicine for it is minoxidil. Now this minoxidil is not a new medicine. It has been there in the world for almost 50 years. So long-term safety, efficacy, everything has been well established. This is a lotion which needs to be applied as per the doctor's prescription. Once you start using it regularly, it will reverse all the process of this androgenetic alopecia. That is, the hair follicle will become normal size. The hair will start to regrow normally. But the problem is that since it is a genetic problem, there is no cure for it. This minoxidil will work as long as you apply. The moment you stop minoxidil, hair is going to fall again. So
you can postpone the
yes,
for some time.
as long as he wants.
Okay.
So if you apply still 40 years, good enough. After that, maybe people may not be bothered much about their hair.
Okay.
So then after that they can stop on the bleach. So until then, as long as they want hair on their head, they need to continue applying minoxidil. And apart from minoxidil, there is recently one treatment called platelet-rich plasma therapy, PRP treatment, wherein we collect the patient's own blood, centrifuge, and a supernatant part of it is called plasma, clear fluid called plasma. The idea behind it is that this plasma contains a lot of growth factors.
Okay.
So we load it into an insulin syringe and inject it into the hair follicle. So this growth factors goes and stimulates the hair follicle to grow. So this minoxidil in combination with PRP treatment helps in regaining all the lost hair density. And
when you say PRP, so many hair follicles, how much can you do it?
No, it is not injected per hair follicle.
Oh.
You just inject it over the scalp.
Oh, okay.
Diffusely over the scalp.
Okay.
And it is the protocol, according to protocol, you have to do 6 sittings of PRP. And then we can do maintenance PRP once in 4 months or once in 6 months. So that PRP has been working wonders in people with such problems.
Any other treatment is available like this, like transplantation?
Transplant is usually reserved for people who have completely lost their hair, last stages. So this androgenetic alopecia happens in 7 stages, 1 to 7. 7th stage is the last stage where they become completely bald. There will be only a small island of hair over the back. That is called stage 7. Now it slowly progresses over from stage 1 to stage 7. Transplant is usually for people in stage 6 and 7. Any stage before that, minoxidil and this PRP is sufficient to prevent them from becoming further loss of hair.
I have seen some who have become bald.
Yes.
After about 5-6 years, we see them with hair growth.
Yes. They have done hair transplant. But the main, even here, minoxidil is a must. Without applying minoxidil, if you do hair transplant, it will fail. So medical management, the medical part of treatment is the most important thing. If required, hair transplant can be done along with the medical management.
Some ladies have hair fall and the thinning of hair after the age of 30, 35 like that. So what is the treatment for that? What is the reason for that? What is the treatment?
The reasons for hair fall in women are slightly different. The commonest reason is anemia. That is when their hemoglobin is less. If their hemoglobin is low, that means their iron content will be low. So that is one commonest reason. Second commonest reason in ladies is thyroid disorders. Both hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. That is low functioning thyroid, hyper functioning thyroid. Both can cause hair fall. Okay. Third reason is vitamin deficiencies, micronutrient deficiency. They may be on diet to lose weight, crash dieting. All that will cause hair fall. And then women generally don't become bald, but if their father is bald, they can lose hair only in the central part of the head. That is called central parting.
Okay.
Where they divide the hair. That's called central parting. So the hair will become thin only in that portion. That is called female pattern hair loss. That is a female counterpart of androgenetic alopecia. Okay. So that is also one cause. And there is one condition called erosion effluvium, where the person would have developed any sudden illness like malaria, typhoid, chikungunya, any viral fever, or any surgeries, or any stressful event in their life. Hair fall will happen 6 months to 1 year after such a stressful event. That is called erosion effluvium. So these are the common causes for hair fall in women. So when you consult a doctor, the doctor will try to, through history, through evaluation, will try to find out this underlying process. He may order some tests also to identify this, and then he will treat your problem. So the treatment part is that in most of these conditions, again minoxidil will work. If minoxidil is not working or you cannot give minoxidil, then there are certain protein-based serums are available. Hair growth peptides, which come as a serum-based solutions that the doctor will prescribe, along with nutrient supplements.
And what is your general instructions for keeping the hair healthy?
Yes. First thing, we need to wash the hair at least weekly twice, or at the maximum weekly thrice, not more than that. Do not use shampoos daily. Use the mildest shampoo that is available. Baby shampoos are the mildest. So anybody can use a baby shampoo. If there is dandruff, then you need to use some special medicated shampoos, anti-dandruff shampoos, which the doctor will prescribe. And if you are using very harsh shampoo, then after shampoo you need to apply conditioners, after shampoo conditioner, which you will apply after you have washed the shampoo, apply it over the hair, and then allow it for 2-3 minutes and then rinse them off also. This is after shampoo conditioner. Now regarding the oils, coconut oil is the only oil that has some benefit. No other oil application has any benefit. So plain coconut oil, if at all you want to apply, you can apply. That too, it is not a must. It's just a part of grooming.
Thank you very much, doctor. You have taken a lot of your time. In the middle of your busy schedule, you have given us some time. Thank you very much on behalf of all the people who will be viewing this video. Probably after some time we will have another session. A lot of questions will be coming to me, asking for so many clearing so many doubts. Thank you very much once again.
Most welcome, sir. I am also very happy to be a part of this public awareness initiative. Thank you.